What's going on, everybody? It's Josh here with Zero Gravity, and I got some great news for you today. As you know, we've all been anxiously watching Palantir to see what's going to happen here, and I wanted to kind of go over a few things and tell you my thoughts and ideas on it, as well as I got some of that great news for you. Institutions are buying this thing up huge, and I can't wait to show you. But first, let's get started here. So looking at the chart, it looks like we've hit another top here, and we're kind of trending back down. I think a lot of this is a little bit of market maker manipulation, trying to keep it down to let a lot of those calls and stuff expire worthless there. There's not any big factors driving the stock right now or anything, but some of the big things I wanted to cover. As you look at it here, you can see our volume has been quickly dropping. It's almost dwindling down to nothing. We went from being one of the most liquid stocks in the market to, at this point, what did we trade yesterday? 36 million. Going back, a few months ago, we were averaging, well over 160 million here, 316 million there. Our volume has quickly dwindled to almost nothing. And the reason I think that is I think everybody's kind of anxiously waiting for the earnings report, number one, to see if we actually achieve profitability. I think a lot of institutions are sitting on the sidelines right now watching, just waiting for that first opportunity where we turn profitable as a company, and then they're going to jump in. The other thing I think is we're at a floor now where I think everybody who has wanted to sell or has gotten weak and tired, and they're kind of lacking the fortitude needed to continue on just based on the movements, have kind of already dwindled out of the stock. So we don't have a ton of people selling or anything like that. Everybody that's in it now is pretty well invested, and they plan on holding for the longer term. Now, shorter term, we don't have any big catalysts that have really came up other than, some of these multi-million and billion-dollar deals that everybody seems to overlook over and over again. But people don't really care as much about those unless they see the profitability from the company that the company's making off of those. So I think that's definitely going to be key when our earnings come into call there. Now, looking at the chart, you'll definitely see that we have the strong, down resistance right here, and we've been trending, creating a wedge. Now, you can see a lot of people draw this a million different ways and everything like that. But based on this wedge, it looks like it's almost set up perfectly for the earnings call, which is on the 11th, before market open. So I think we'll probably see another bounce down here. We'll probably trickle around right in this area, and we'll slowly come up here and start to break this probably the day before earnings. And then based on the earnings report is when we're going to see if this thing goes to the moon or if it stays trending where it's at. I can't imagine a sell-off after earnings. Even a horrible, absolute, beat down earnings report, I can't really see this going anywhere. And based on all the contracts that I've calculated, you can look at some of my past videos and stuff like that, I don't see how we are not going to have a revenue and margin beat. Depending on the employee compensation and stuff like that, we have a few things to look at as far as that goes. But based on their original SEC filings, their biggest part was released whenever they took this IPO and the lockup period extended. So they do have additional options throughout the next few years here, but they're all going to be in smaller increments. Now, one of the big things I wanted to cover today is this story that's going around everywhere, and the bears are using it like it's a new fancy toy to try to push in our faces or something like that. But anyways, Palantir Alex Karp gets $1 billion payday in 2020. And a lot of your not so smart, smooth brain apes out there are reading this and thinking, hey, we paid Alex Karp $1 billion last year? That's insane. We didn't even make that much money. What's going on? Well, the truth of the fact is he actually owned equity in this company, took the company public. The company had 100% plus run up, so all of his stocks and all of his options that he owned in the company have been extremely lucrative and positive for him. Now, he still owns a ton of stock. This isn't something that he liquidated to try to justify anything. He still owns tons and tons of shares in the company. There's no fear there. And Alex Karp has said a million times, he's in this for the long haul. He doesn't plan on cashing out anytime soon. I think we'll probably see this cash out when the stock reaches well over 100. I think he has the utmost confidence in it, and I think he's thoroughly invested in the company. So this story, I don't know if it's a hit piece put out by market makers or what to try to help push the stock down, but it's definitely kind of misleading, I think, in the way these titles have been laid out to the public. Now, what I wanted to get into ultimately today is look at this purchase. Sumitomo Mitsui Trust Holdings bought 5,583,944 shares, totaling $130 million and 50,000. That is absolutely a huge purchase. So there's quite a few others on here for 67,000, 10,000, 27,000. Pacific Heights with a 520,000 share purchase reported today. There's a lot of them. We have one person that closed out a position, but other than that, everything's been a pretty strong purchase. And I wanted to say Vanguard even picked up, a couple more shares, which is kind of crazy here the last few days. But this is, I think, what we've been watching for, these institutions to start stepping in and start buying these huge chunks like this. 6 million shares purchased just between these two. That's absolutely insane. So anyways, I wanted to look a little bit into this company here just to kind of see who they were and everything. It's an investment company out of Japan. They actually have a $160 billion portfolio. Can you imagine that? I wish I could get $160 billion right now. There's no telling what I would do. Why don't you go ahead and drop me a comment and leave me what you would do with $160 billion right now. I don't think there's really a limit to it. The sky's the limit at this point. And their largest holding is Toyota Motor Corp, which is, pretty strong. Toyota is a strong brand. I drive a Toyota myself. I'm very positive in them, and I think they will make a great adjustment into the EV world. But like I said, they're just a company right out of Tokyo, and some reason they've seen a lot of faith in Palantir to be able to invest that kind of money. And the only thing I could think is there was a speech the other day that Biden did where he said we're going to focus a lot more on US technology as far as AI and all that kind of stuff. And he also mentioned the EV. Everybody's been pushing EV charge point, all this kind of stuff. We got to have 500,000, charging stations across the US. So everybody's pushing that as the ultimate play. But he very distinctly mentions a lot of AI technologies and stuff like that. And that is where I think Palantir is going to excel. I think we're going to pick up a lot more government contracts. We just got that contract through the IRS, which, I don't know how much that's going to be yet for the Finding Hidden Treasure. It's to do with the crypto markets and stuff like that. I don't know where that one's going to end up going, but that's definitely going to be a huge contract there as well, with a lot of longevity in it. Because once they build this system out and be able to monitor the crypto exchanges, they're not going to want to pay another company to do another build out. So they're going to use Palantir for a long time, I think. So I'm not worried about that, and I'm pretty excited. Hope you guys are too. Like I said, I think we might very well trickle around for the next week or so. Just in case there isn't, if you looked at the options for next week expiring, you can pick up some like 26s and 27s and stuff for like 4 or 5 cents. I picked up a few hundred of them, but I'm a gambler. Do not take this as financial advice. This was just my own gamble. It was a risk I'm willing to take, and if I lose, I lose. If I win big. So let's hope for a big run up next week, but I'm not exactly expecting it. It could very well trickle around until earnings, and then I think we're going to see a rocket ship. But this is not financial advice, so please do your own due diligence. I appreciate it. If you hung out this long, please smash the like button, hit the subscribe button. Thank you guys very much, and I'll see you next time.